Welcome back to the Inner Slot podcast. Start off with some Pete Top, Kevin Bottom news. It's been a while, Chris. We've had the off season, took a break, reflected on ourselves, and here we are back again. Just you and me this time. Obviously, Connor and Henry have fallen by the wayside. Hopefully, they return soon. But for the Pete Top, Kevin Bottom league, obviously the first thing, the most important part is figuring out who gets the number one pick. So we'll do exactly what we did last year, have a Super Smash Bros. Tournament. It seems like the fairest and most gentlemanly way to settle that dispute. It'll take place this Friday, 20th of August, probably about 9 p.m. We'll do the live stream again. I'll do some of my patented commentary, and we can all enjoy that.
Looking forward to that.
Yeah. I definitely am looking forward to it, to be honest. I was thinking about a marble run, but I'll be honest, I just didn't have the energy to try and build one of those. It was a cool concept, but no. So we'll see who wins this Smash tournament. The next part is then talking about the league, what that looks like. So with the Smash tournament, obviously we'll post a message out there. Everyone pick their characters just like they did last time. But this year, things have been slightly different for fantasy football. We've got a new league. We've got the Super League. Chris and I were just talking. We know absolutely nothing about this. It's a close-guarded secret from our league. Our representatives are the 4 highest finishers and well-deserved from last season. We got Joe, Henry, Connor, and Sam. So wish one of them all the best, and the other 3, hopefully we can make it 1, 2, 3, 4 for Pete Top, Kevin Bottom. Yeah, exactly. From the other league, Tom's obviously the commissioner of that one. Tom, Stoz, and Ben, all 3 of them in the top 4, all deserved placeholders within the Super League. Yep. We just found out tonight, though, there's some surprising news. So number 4 was meant to be Niall. Somehow he's been replaced by Simon. So we were just thinking about our odds for the Super League coming to Pete Top, Kevin Bottom. Looking a bit better now, Chris, aren't they?
Well, I have brought up the record for last season just to make sure that we hadn't overlooked anything. And to be fair to Simon, he did finish 5th overall, which was the same record as Sam from our league, 6 for 7. So I don't really know how that works, because looking down at 7, Chase had 7 and 6, and you also had 7 and 6. So I'm not quite sure what's happened there.
Yeah, that seems like a bit of jiggery pokery in there. But anyway, we'll take it. If it gives Pete Top, Kevin Bottom more chance to win the Super League, then all for it. Hopefully, at least that balances out for Connor being in there from our side. Well, let's talk about our league. Let's not speculate on the close-guarded secret that is the Super League. That's the main reason why we want Connor and Henry back, so we can get some inside scoop into that after our abysmal seasons last year.
Yeah, dish the dirt, please.
Yeah, boys. Exactly. We need to know what's going on in there, please. Yeah, so the main thing for the league moving forward is what we always do. We have a reshuffle. We've got the divisions set up. We've got the APC and the NKC. So now Chris and Connor have moved to the APC. New additions. Yeah, that's also known as Top, I believe. With Joe, Andy P, and Simon. And then the new additions to the NKC are Sam and Carl, joining Henry, Tom, and me. So that's all based on last year's record. Hopefully it evens it up. Obviously, maybe I get a chance at getting a few more wins this season with that.
Yeah, we both need it. We both need them.
Yeah, exactly. Obviously, the NFL's moving to 17 games, but our schedule's not really moving around too much. We'll play twice against each of the teams within our division, so that makes four opponents, 8 total matches, and then once against the other division, so another 5 added to the mix. So that's 13 regular season weeks, and then still 2 playoff weeks. So from my reckoning, that's 15 and 16, which are the playoff weeks.
Yeah, I think so. And it's not really changed too much there from how you've said it. It's just an extra 1 week, isn't it? So.
Yeah, that's it. And at least this means you're less likely to have your fantasy season impacted by one of the top teams resting players because they've done so well throughout the rest of the season. That's why we always avoid the last week anyway. Bringing it back to the draft, takes place on Saturday, 21st of August, 6 p.m. British summertime. Apparently, some of the emails went out, made it a bit confusing, said it was like 1 p.m., but it's definitely 6 p.m. British time that the draft will be taking place. Chris, I'm going to move next onto the rule changes. But before I do, anything you wanted to mention quickly?
No, mate, I'm really looking forward to this season. I'm sure you are wanting to make amends and hopefully set things right. We know we've got a couple of people who maybe have overperformed, maybe a couple of people have underperformed. Certainly, I feel that happened to me. But, credit where credit's due. Some people had really good drafts last season, picked up some really good players who now are probably going where they were drafted last year, aka CD Lamb. But yeah, no, I'm really looking forward to it. I'm really buzzing and really excited, mate. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, with that in mind, we took a look, saw how we could make things even more competitive and more enjoyable for the season ahead. So, as you know, I did a quick poll. Just wanted to gather some feedback. Couple of questions which we'll go through. A couple of rule changes weren't on there. That's because I'd already made the decision myself. Being the dictator that I am.
Collusion!
Yeah, well, there's no collusion. I didn't consult anyone. I just choose what I want. But we've moved to half-point PPR. I'm sure everyone will be pleased to hear that. We've been behind the times and stuck to standard scoring format for a long time. But the benefit of that is that matches what I believe the Super League format is, and definitely Tom's league. And now we start to see the value of the running backs who've been depreciated with our league go back up to where they really should be. The first question on the poll was about wide receiver 3. Do we have a wide receiver 3 slot? And this one, actually, the majority said yes. So we had 5 participants who voted. 60% did say yes. But I have ruled that we're not going to add a third wide receiver just yet. Yeah, sorry. I know you were a big fan of the wide receiver 3, Chris. I know you were pushing for it.
Yeah, I just think it adds a bit more depth to the rosters, and you've got people that you're picking up off the waiver wires or you're drafting in the sort of 8th, 9th, 10th round. You've got someone that you can actually play instead of someone that is it's just a name for filling a roster spot. You've got someone that can actually play. So I've been after that for a couple of years, but hopefully it'll come.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, it's one of those situations where I think Joe put it really well in the group. I think it's been an enjoyable league so far. If you drastically change everything, it's going to have such a big impact on the league as a whole. Of course, I know a lot of these rule changes are probably pretty standard across most leagues anyway. I know a lot of leagues do move towards 3 wide receivers or even 2 flex options, even the super flex. But, maybe that's one for next year. 60% actually wasn't that high, really, when you consider it. The next question was about IR spots. For that one, we had 80% yes to keep them. I think that was a great addition and, probably the best thing to come out of the COVID season, if I could say that. But the addition and the concept of an IR spot, we'd all been burnt. We've all taken that running back who's got injured straight away. You can feel that pain, I'm sure, Chris, with CMC. But yeah, so I definitely agreed to keep the IR spot. The thing which I didn't specify was how many and all the details. So last year we had 2 IR spots. And all you needed to be to qualify for IR was questionable or worse. This season, what I've done is I've reduced it to 1 spot only, and you have to be worse than questionable to actually qualify. So there's 3 categories which you wouldn't classify as an IR spot under, which is healthy, probable, and questionable. You have to be at least doubtful or below.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think the benefit of having it last year was because of the pandemic, and we had such uncertainty about games being called off or players having a game day positive test and not being able to change that. So I think that was really, really important. And I don't think we were the only people to have one last season who hadn't had one before. But I think with hopefully continuing vaccinations going around, and hopefully countries being certainly the Americas, America, USA, and obviously here we're doing quite well, but hopefully we won't have so many unexpected events. So I think one is probably right, although there's part of me who suffered so many injuries, I just want them all the IR. But no, I think one is fine, and how you explained it is quite good.
Yeah. Well, it definitely, now it makes it easier to draft Saquon or Amari Cooper or those, even Dak Prescott, those players who've got niggling injury issues. At least you don't have to make a week one decision or prior to week one decision of, do I keep this guy on the roster or whatever. So yeah, I'm hoping we continue to see the benefit there. We can be a bit more aggressive as a whole, as a league, in who we look for too. The next question on the poll was about Keeper League. So I was actually very pleasantly surprised. I've been a big advocate and big pusher for a Keeper League for a long time. Just off the bat, we're not going to do a Keeper League. This is not going to become a Keeper League. It was more as an idea of, if we started another league, would there be interest and could we entertain that? It's such a drastic change. The thing about a Keeper League is suddenly it changes the entire draft dynamic. First overall pick means so much more when teams are holding on to two of the top players. Now you're fighting over either one player who would be in the top 2 rounds of a redraft league like ours, who's been cut from an extremely strong team, or you're fighting over whoever the best in the 3rd round is, which that 3rd round is going to have such a difference of quality from the start to the finish than the 1st round ever could. So that's the big thing for me. But, the thing which I like too is if you went for a complete dynasty league where you didn't drop anyone and then you can trade draft picks and everything in there, then now it becomes more about the draft. But it's a very niche market. We'll take a look at it. It's too late for this year. Something to keep an eye out for next year. We'll probably run a second league for whoever's interested. But just so you know, the poll results, we gave 3 options within the poll. There was 0 keeper places on the bench, on the roster. That got 40% of the votes. 2 keeper positions on the roster, that got 20% of the votes. So obviously just one person voted for that one. And then 3 spots on the roster which are keeper positions, 40% again. So, overall, if you canvassed it, you would say 3 out of the 5 people were interested in the concept of a keeper league. So it's interesting. We'll take a look. Maybe that's something we'll do next year. In addition, just want to confirm that. Now, there are times when, being a commissioner, you have to sacrifice your own opinion for the greater good, to support the members of the league. Yeah, exactly. You have to respect what other people think. Without you guys, there wouldn't be a league for me to play in. So it's with a heavy heart, but kickers have remained. Yeah, 80% of the votes said yes to keep kickers. Frankly, I'm disgusted. Frankly, I think less of everyone in this league for those results, but we'll stick with them.
What did I vote? I'm pretty sure I voted don't care. I think I did. To be fair, I think I did. I don't really mind, like yes or no. So I think I did yes and no. I think because you could vote for either or. I think so.
I don't believe so. If you did, you've massively skewed my results all over the place.
Oh.
Yeah, well, it was 80% yes. So given only 6 participants, that does add up to 4 out of the 5 saying yes. And whoever that 1 out of 5 was, thank you. Just thank you for being honest.
Did you not vote?
Why would I vote on my own poll? My opinion is the overall opinion. Yeah.
I don't know. Does the Prime Minister not vote in the election?
That's a good question. I don't actually know, but I assume so because on all the American TV series, the president always goes in a little voting booth.
Yeah. He's not voting for the other guy, is he?
Yeah. Well, well, you never know. You never know. But
after such a rubbish job, I'm going to vote for that guy.
But probably the better thing to kind of consider it against is, does Robert Mugabe vote in his election. I would say he votes thousands upon thousands upon thousands of times for himself through fake people.
Well, it would be unjust of us to assume.
Speculate. Yeah, thanks. Yeah, let's not take this pod political, but yeah, I didn't vote in the poll.
Kickers are staying.
Kickers are staying. That's the headline. You can write that one and keep that for next year. And yeah, I'm sure half of those votes would just to disappoint me. The final thing, and the thing which wasn't included on the voting, but I've been mulling this one over all off season, was waivers. I think it's an incredibly unjust system. Each year there's one running back, there's one wide receiver, there's someone somewhere who just through all the odds manages to become a top level fantasy performer. Last year was James Robinson. Didn't help me win any games, but I picked him up because I was really bad. That's not how it should work, and if I have an injured player in week 1, therefore I lose my week 1 matchup, why should I get any other favor over anyone else? So I've turned it into more of a skill base for waivers. We're going to do a blind auction system. I'm sure you're probably all familiar with how that works. But you get a budget each week of $100, as they're called on the system. You can submit $0 bids if you want. And if you're the only person who bids $0, then you will still win that player. But what it means is you can invest the amount of money which you want into selecting any waiver priorities. So yeah, hopefully that makes it more interesting. Waivers get processed at 1 p.m. British time on a Wednesday, just so everyone's aware of that, because I think for a long time we didn't necessarily know. Chris, what are your thoughts on that? I think I've probably sprung that waiver bidding on you.
Yeah, no, what you have done, yes, but I think we have mentioned that before. And in other leagues, it's run slightly differently. They go at different times depending on when people are dropped, so people aren't always available at that same time point. So I know this is FAB, or free agent budget, or acquisition budget. I don't know what people abbreviate it to. But yeah, I think this probably is a fairer way of rewarding those players that are sharper with those pickups, and how much they're willing to bet on, say, a week 3 breakout or a week 3 injury. How much do you want to spend on their backup compared to, do you want to save it for something happens in game week 13, a game changing, Zeke goes down and Tony Pollard, who for some reason is not on a roster, is the best pickup, and you've only got 10 fab left to spend on that. So I think that's pretty good. It might take a little bit of getting used to, certainly for those players that aren't as active, but hopefully that makes it a bit more active. Who knows?
Yeah, it's a good point, Chris. You actually made me question. I'm not 100% sure. I'll get some clarity on this. I don't think that it's a rollover budget. I think that's your weekly budget, but I could be wrong because it does say initial budget. So I'll have to confirm how the waiver bidding system works. Go on, please. Yeah.
My understanding is it's $100 for this season, and then every time you make a successful bid, that's detracted from your total amount. So say if you and I both bid, you bid game week 1, you bid, I don't know, $20 for a running back, and I bid 25, and that's the highest bid, then you would still have $100, but I would take the player and have $75 left for the remainder of the season. That's my understanding. But
cool. Well, that's even better then. So yeah, I'll confirm it. I like that system a lot. Yeah, and hopefully these rule changes do make things more competitive, more entertaining. We're all a bit more engaged, but we'll keep an eye on it. Nothing's set in stone. It's a trial season for all these new rules, and we'll see how things go.